Morning, Coach. Through two games, only one penalty on defense. I'm curious, what do you attribute that to, the team being so prepared? Even the scout team wasn't penalized against Utah State. Is that the coaching staff getting the guys ready to go? Is that the players' mentality? If you could shed some light on that, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we've done a good job of just, I think, playing pretty smart. We've tried to, we've tried to really educate our guys on penalties, why they happen, how officials see games. We're very aggressive with penalties, I think, throughout our practices. But I mean, yeah, I think the biggest thing is the players have done a good job taking that to the field so far. We've for the most part, we've held our poise, I think, pretty well. So we haven't had a lot of, unfocused penalties, and then guys have played pretty fundamentally sound. And typically, when you're in good position, and you're where you're supposed to be, you don't necessarily put yourself in position to commit those penalties. And so far, 2 games in, that's something that's been a positive for us.
Luca?
Hey, Lincoln, you talked about him a couple weeks ago, I think, but what does it say about, Walker Lyons that, 3 months after he was a missionary in Norway, he's been able to earn snaps here as a true freshman? And have you noticed a difference just, in the kid you recruited kind of after he's come back after that experience for him?
Yeah, first, yeah, super impressive to have a guy on a mission, be away from the game that long, and then and also he missed a large part of his of his last year with an injury in high school. So I mean he's been away from the game for a while, and so yeah, to see him come back, he's still. I mean, it's certainly impressive what he's doing, but yet he still is kind of getting his feet underneath him. He's still getting his shape. He's still, the different movements, all the things that happen. Like you can tell he's getting better quickly. And I think, as long as he stays healthy, he's going to have an opportunity to continue to do that. So been impressed with him. Yeah, I think you can definitely see maturity, maybe a little bit different look in his eye, coming back from that experience, and, being able to talk with him and his family about that experience. I think that's something that, I know is a real positive. Those guys are, put in some really unique situations and forced to grow. And obviously I know it was a really positive experience for him, and we enjoyed it. We got to stay in touch with him quite a bit. We had late or early morning for us, late night for him, FaceTime calls throughout the mission to be able to stay in touch with him, which was great. But yeah, I think he grew a lot, matured a lot. He certainly, there's a lot about him out there that doesn't feel like a freshman. So I do think, it was a real positive experience for him.
Thank you.
Jack?
Hey, Lincoln, there are similarities between Sharon Moore's situation at Michigan and yours at Oklahoma, being promoted kind of from within and asked to maintain a period of success from the previous regime. I'm curious, from your point of view, how do you balance instilling your own philosophy as a head coach and getting your fingerprints on a team while also wanting to uphold the brand and traditions that kind of brought the program success in recent years?
That's some deja vu. Sounds like a question I got asked probably 1,000 times several years back. So, and it's a legit question. It's unique. There hasn't been that many people in that type of scenario. Just a few of us. And so, yeah, it's a cool thing, right? Like it's obviously awesome to take over for a program that's already having success, and trying to, maintain or push it even further. There's, like, I guess, like any situation, there's benefits, and then there's also challenges that come with that. And yeah, I mean, I think you've got to take stock of the program. You got to take stock of the areas that you think it can be better. You got to take stock of the areas that you think it's operating at a really, really high level. I tried to find a balance between, I didn't want to just change things just to change them just because, all right, oh, well, now there's a different head coach. Like I thought that wasn't the right path, but also if there was something that I thought, all right, here's an area we can be better, an adjustment that I think we should make, I didn't want to be hesitant to do that either. So I just tried to always circle back to, do I believe deep down in my gut that this is the best thing for the program? And if it was, I tried to be aggressive enough to do it, but also I didn't want to cross the line and certainly, mess up something that was already operating at a pretty high level as well.
Thank you.
Hey, Lincoln. Gavin Meer didn't enter the transfer portal in the spring until the very last possible moment. I guess I wonder at that point in the portal process for you guys, what was the urgency like to add a defensive tackle, and what was it about Gavin that really stood out, especially given that he, entered so late in the process?
We did. I mean, we hoped to add an interior D lineman, but we also, we also got very committed to, and I think maybe the previous year was a good reminder of that for us to make sure we're bringing in the right guys from the portal, not just the right type of body types or the right experience level or anything like that, but guys that you're confident that you can put in this locker room, and they're gonna, acclimate well with the team and fit in well with the culture. And just is you go bring in a newcomer that's about themselves or not going to fit in great with the group, that could be one of the most damaging things that you can do. So yeah, we stayed true to that. We investigated a lot of guys. We've had conversations with and visited with a lot of different people as that process played out. And yeah, Gavin just stood out to us from the first time that we got a chance to talk to him. We did. He was just very pro team, just everything about his was like goals that he had were all about helping the team first. All of the individual goals that he had were like secondary to him. And so that was the first thing that really we liked. We liked his football intelligence. We thought that really stood out when you're talking about an older guy that's not going to be with you for spring ball, and he's got to come in and not just learn it, but learn it good enough to be able to go execute it right away. That was really important, and I thought made him stand out a little bit from maybe some of the rest of the crop, I guess, as you would call it, that was out there. So yeah, and he had the experience and good tape on top of it. So, we thought he was one of the very, very few that checked all the boxes for us.
Shotgun.
Thanks.
Hey, Lincoln, after 2 games, where have you seen the biggest impact of the allowed technology? It seems like the adjustments are happening much quicker with the tablets on the sideline.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think there's certainly, I think, less of a role for people in the press box now. There's still a role. It's just not, it's not as, probably not quite as valuable as it was before. Just because you can sit there and just watch it yourself. Yeah, probably, honestly, it's still probably a little early to say. I mean, yeah, I mean, you can, look up and see what your mistake was or what they, the opponent did on any side of the ball. And that's that. Now you still got to be able to translate it. And you got to be careful. We're all so used to just sitting there and just pouring through film. You got to be careful about that because the game moves fast and there's a lot going on, and you got to try to obviously figure out, all right, what can I, take from this in this moment, and then, move on and try to find a positive impact in the game with it. So we're probably all navigating through that still right now, but it's been getting used to it. I mean, I still don't, the purist of me doesn't love it, but I mean, you're getting used to it, and there's certainly some advantages with it.
Mark.
Hey, Coach. So big win against LSU, come back home, followed up with an even better win, probably against Utah State with defense play. Did the bye week come at a good time? Would you have preferred to keep going based on how the team is playing right now? And since you've had this week of practice so far, have you had any challenges keeping the team focused? Are they starting to read their press clippings? Have you sensed any of that?
Yeah, the age-old question: would you rather keep playing or do you need the time? I've just always believed these bye weeks. I mean, they are what they are. You can find it. You can sit there if you handle it well. You can find advantages in, being able to get back and work on yourself, to get some guys healthy, to continue to develop your young players, and still, being ready to play at a high level. I mean, we had a lot of this leading into the LSU game, obviously with it being our first game, and handled that okay. So to me, it's all in how you handle it. If you handle it well, like, to me, a bye week should be an advantage no matter what. The whole rhythm thing and all that, I mean, I get it, but I don't know, after a whole week, I don't know that that's really a factor. It's just, do you handle it well or not? And we've pushed our guys. We've laid out everything that we felt necessary in terms of why it's important, how we got to handle it, how how we're going to practice, how we're going to prepare. And then, you know, obviously they've got to take it and run with it. So far, I mean, we've had 2 pretty physical spirited practices. And so I don't see inklings of a group that's not taking this week serious. And I know they're excited for what's ahead.
Jordan.
Hey, Coach. Kind of building off that last question, you know, you get some extra time to look at what's going on with Michigan. What have been your early impressions of what you've seen from them so far, and just being able to be ready to go into that environment, knowing that it's going to be a raucous crowd the same way Texas kind of dealt with it and was able to like really just neutralize it very quickly?
Yeah, I mean they're good. I mean, defending national champions, a lot of really good players on that roster, great home field advantage. So you know, the Texas game was, in my opinion, watching it was probably quite a bit closer than maybe what the scoreboard indicated. There was just, like most times when you get 2 really good teams together, those are 2 very good football teams. Came down to a couple plays, and Texas, you know, made those plays. You know, Michigan had their opportunities to obviously be right there in it, and Texas made more key plays than they did. So, but teams are going to evolve. We understand that each week's different, but it's we've got really good players all over the field. Really strong at the line of scrimmage. Obviously, they're breaking in some new players at positions with some of the guys that moved on from last year's team, but an extremely talented team, and will be a super challenge for us.
Luca.
And again, just real quick on Eric Gentry, just wanted to clarify his status, any updates, and is he dealing with, is it an injury? Is it, you know, another situation, disciplinary thing, or just an injury?
He will be available this week. I think I addressed that earlier in the week, and I don't have anything new on it.
Ryan.
Hey, Lincoln, just curious, did you speak at all to Wink Martindale during the hiring process with Danton, given that he'd worked under him? And I wonder, just from your perspective, what it is about that Ravens kind of defensive scheme that has been so successful and has kind of, you know, disseminated across the NFL and college football?
Yeah, no, I mean it's a great scheme. You know, and he's one of the OG members of that, certainly, and you know, coach that even though you coach in different leagues, I mean, he's, you know, carries a ton of respect for what he's done defensively, you know, in the NFL and all the different people that have coached with him or learned under him. So yeah, no, and you can, you know, you watch them, you can see it's pretty distinct. You know what I mean? You can watch anybody kind of out of that tree and have a pretty good idea pretty quickly of what they do, and they do a great job of it, man. It's and obviously, you know, it's been fun getting to watch these guys a little bit. You see some similarities certainly to what we're doing and some of the things that we believe in, and so it'll be a super challenge, man. Guys been doing it for a long time and done it at the, you know, a super high level. So a lot of respect. Didn't necessarily think we'd be, you know, a year or two ago, didn't necessarily think we'd be sitting here, you know, going up against him, but that's just kind of how the game is now. But no, it'll be a fun matchup, and you know, he's certainly one of the most highly regarded, most well-respected, you know, coaches that we've gone up against from a coordinator standpoint.
Did you talk to him about Danton at all? Just real quick.
No, I feel like I had enough of by the time kind of got that far down the line, I feel like I had enough of a grasp on it, and I don't really know him like that.
Jude.
Hey, Lincoln. Hope you're doing well. So yesterday we talked to D'Anton Lynn, and he said that Gus Bradley had a big influence in just the simplicity of his play calling. And so I'm wondering for you, kind of, was there a mentor early in your life that helped influence kind of the way you call a game, your play style, you know, in your early career?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of them. I mean, probably still on the play calling side of it, it's probably still Mike. Not necessarily what plays exactly that we call, or obviously there's, you know, we've evolved and there's quite a few differences, but I always thought he was a fearless play caller. And I think that's important. I think if people can narrow you down into, well, they don't think you'll call this or call that, or they would never do it, it makes their job a lot easier. And I think you you got to be fearless but not reckless. And I thought Mike had he was a fearless play caller, and I thought that was important. And he also believed in simplicity as well. And so, I think I've taken things from different guys that I've worked with, not even necessarily guys, just the head coaches I've worked for, but just other guys in the staff rooms that I've been able to be a part of. And some from the early staffs at Tech. I mean, even to now, I've been in the room with some great people that, I mean, our staff right now, I get a ton of great ideas and feedback of, what we're doing. And we try to be, very open-minded. I don't have a problem being critical of myself as a play caller, and what should we have done better, and how should we think about this next time. And so, just try to learn from the people around me. But I mean, if I had to pick out one single person that had the most impact on it, I would have to say Mike.
We have time for one more with shotgun.
Hey, Lincoln, you used a tight end more last game than you have any time in your USC tenure. What's given you confidence in that group to earn more opportunities this season, whether it be Lake or in 2 tight end sets?
Well, the guys are doing a good job, players in there. Coach Hansen, I think he's done a really good job developing that room. And like I've told y'all, it's been super important for us to build that room up. It wasn't, quite up to our standards in the early years, and it's gotten better, and I think we'll continue to get better. And I still believe tight ends are one of the biggest mismatches that you can have in football when you have really good ones, with the versatility that they create. So guys have done some good things early on, and it's definitely helped us. Hopefully it makes us a little bit more well-rounded as an offense, and especially with still having, a handful of young guys in the room. I'm looking forward to seeing, how that room continues to grow and hopefully positively impacts us more and more here going forward.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach